Next tonight, to an issue that we've covered a lot here on the programme, how to keep children safe online. Well, there's a public consultation currently underway. However, ahead of its conclusion, the government said that they will introduce restrictions in some form on social media for under 16s. It's not clear what those limits will look like just yet because the consultation is ongoing. But Downing Street says it will continue to speak to families and campaigners on what the restrictions should include. Well, one of those who has been tirelessly campaigning to raise the minimum age for social media is Ellen Room. Ellen's 14-year-old son, Jules, died in 2022, and Ellen strongly believes that he died after an online challenge went wrong. Earlier today, I spoke to Ellen alongside Lauren Cowell, who's been supporting her with her campaign. And I started by asking them for their reaction to the news this week that the government does plan to bring in restrictions on social media for children, a huge step forward.
I'd woken up that morning thinking there's no way we're going to have this happen, they just can't be bothered to do it. And then when it actually happened, it was about 11:15 at night and my phone just started going mental. I was like, really, what, is this actually happening? So yeah, I'm so delighted that they're actually, saying they will do something. Yeah, we're crying out for it. Everybody across the UK is crying out for it.
Lauren, I'll come to you on this. What restrictions do you want to see come in? Because there are a range on the table. What do you think will really work?
Well, for me, I think initially we had all agreed and we were all aligned on the fact that we thought that a kind of like a total ban, we never really like to use the word ban, but essentially what we were asking for was just a raise the age to 16 for social media. What I think we really are asking for right now is to remove the harmful features from all of the platforms. So the harmful features being, or the most harmful features being the live location, the algorithms where the harmful content is sent and exposed to our children. And what was the other one we were talking about?
So whereby stranger pairing, children can talk to strangers on their platforms.
Yeah.
I also think live location needs to be switched off.
I started to do my own research about all of these things because something in my gut instinctively as a mom, I guess, was saying this doesn't feel right. And so I started to delve into it more because I never had Instagram until December, since we did a documentary, and I didn't have Instagram until we did that show. So for me, it was also very new. So when I started to do my research, I very quickly realized that this is very, very bad what's going on. And in all the research I was doing, it led me to Ellen and Ellen's story about Jules, her son, who tragically passed away 4 years ago. And I just, when I heard the story about Jules and Ellen, I just couldn't step away from it. It was something that I couldn't stop thinking about. I contacted Ellen. I asked her at first, how could I help? I want to meet you, I want to help.
And also, do you feel a sense of responsibility? Because Ellen, at the time, you weren't aware of how bad social media was. Jules was just, ordinary boy on social media, as all his friends were. But now it almost feels like those parents that haven't lost a child have that responsibility of you have the knowledge, you know how bad it can get. It's now is the time to act.
Well, we never talked about it. Back when I gave Jules a phone, we all talked about it as parents going, is this the right age? And everybody went to secondary school and we all said, OK, that's the age they get the smartphone. And we didn't know about the harms of social media. I honestly thought it was stupid dances on TikTok and, silly chat features and you can make your face look like a cat and, I just thought it was fun. And we didn't know about it. And after Jules died, I always said if I can use Jules' story to save one other life, and that's what I wanted to do.
For so many parents, it is pressure from their children and their children's wider circle. How do you talk about it with Eric? Because he's 12, so
12.
Again, as you said, all his friends will be getting it, and it's quite hard to put some of the awful things that go on social media in language and in conversation for younger children, for them to get it. They're too young to get it, which is why they're so vulnerable on social media. So how do you talk about it as part of your family?
I think that's such a good question, SJ. And the truth is, we're just learning this all as we go along. Until we can make sure that these platforms are safe they cannot be on them. They can't, because too many things can go wrong here. And obviously, you know, losing a child is at the very, very extreme end of this. But it's all the stuff that happens in between. It's the bullying, it's the sextortion, it's the grooming, it's the
eating disorders.
Disorders, you know, the content that they're being exposed to. It's not healthy. It's just not.
You've had a busy couple of weeks, Ellen, because in a landmark case, you're now a significant step closer to a new inquest into Jules' death, which is something you've been fighting for a long time. It comes with no opposition from the coroner or the social media platform TikTok to your High Court application for this, because you want crucial social media and digital evidence to be properly examined, because it wasn't during the original inquest. And in the time that has lapsed since that original inquest, we know so much more now about social media and its harms. This is vital. And again, this could be hugely significant for your campaigning in this space. How are you feeling about this step forward?
Well, I'm the first British parent to ever do this. So right from the word go, I said, we've missed something about what happened to Jules. We've missed it. And the only thing that wasn't looked at was his social media data. And then when I went to the social media companies and they wouldn't give it to me, and then I thought, as a parent, you're not legally entitled to see it. And it's like, what? He's my child.
Because the suspicion always was that Jules was potentially looking at a TikTok challenge. And we've heard so much about those in the news, the viral challenge trends, which can be harmful for children, physically harmful.
Well, I raised that at the very beginning when they were first investigating it, because Archie Battersby had his accident 6 days before Jules, and it was all over the news, and everybody kept saying, do you think it could be the same thing? And I said to the officers then, could it be this? And they said, maybe, but we can't prove it. And when you've lost a child, I was barely functioning. I was literally crawling up the stairs on my hands and knees, and I didn't have the strength. And then you're trying to get back into going to work again and trying to get your head into that, and I just couldn't do it. And so it took me 2 years before I was ready to say, now I'm going to look for answers, which is when I then started campaigning for Jules Law, which is now becoming law. So that will be, it's going through the Crime and Policing Bill, or the Police and Crime Bill, whichever way around it is. And when that becomes law, within 5 days of a child dying, their data will automatically be preserved. So you will never have another parent in my position begging for that data.
It's just crazy that it's not already the case. And again, that's something that we would never even know about. So, I mean, the fact that she's doing this now is, you know, it's so important.
And this is vital because it will make the case stronger by what is now on public record in the United States, bereaved parents in the US taking on social media firms in US courts. And a lot of what has been put on public record after being revealed in the courts, you feel hasn't filtered through to the general public, particularly here in the UK. And it's worth going through some of it, because it's shocking what was admitted to by social media companies behind closed doors. The stories they were presenting publicly to the general public, the governments and regulators, was completely different. What were some of the most shocking things you found in the evidence that came out in the US courts?
For me, there's one with Instagram where it says one member of staff says there's 500,000 victims a week on their platform, and another member of staff comes in and says it's not a week, it's 500,000 victims per day which are being fed harmful content. If you average that or multiply that up for a year, that's 182.5 million children are being affected just on one platform with with harmful criteria that's being fed to them.
And what about predators accessing them? Wasn't there another statistic about that as well, which was just, again, shocking?
That they know there's groomers on their platform.
So there's a wide range of social media companies, their internal communications brought out in court, saying they know. All of this is now on public record. What do you want to say to parents watching this interview this evening?
Don't be naive. Don't be naive to think, oh, it can't be that bad, or I've got my parental controls on. That's one of them,
They
isn't
don't
it?
work.
It says that they know that the parental controls don't work.
They don't
so
work.
all they know is that the kids are switching it off, and there's a way of switching it off, and the kids can do it.
Well, Ellen and Lauren, thank you so much. Like I said, it's been a hugely significant week for this campaign in keeping children safe online, and we will talk again with the next development. I was going to say, we are not done yet, and we will talk again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.